How is everybody doing? We thought we'd come outside and enjoy the California springtime, but I'm freezing, so you'll see me here in a hoodie. Nicole's braver than I am.
Good. Feels nice.
Yeah. Let me just hop on and just make sure that our feed is going out well everywhere. I see us there live. Okay, we're over there in the Rule Your Business group. If you are new to our feed and don't know quite what Rule Your Business is, Rule Your Business is our all-in-one marketing system, which helps people make money, essentially. It's a catalyst for making money and has seen people make hundreds of thousands of dollars literally with that software alone. Millions of dollars, I should say. And then just checking
I can't share it.
You can't share it from inside the group because the content of the group is private. But if you go over to my Facebook profile, you can share it from there. Isn't it fun, Facebook and technology? We actually use a service called Restream. I'm not sure if anyone's ever heard of this, but if you want to go live in lots of places at the same time, Restream.io. And what we do is we go from Zoom into Restream. We send the feed to Restream and it goes out to YouTube. It goes out to my Facebook profile. It goes out to Rule Your Business group. It goes out to She Reigns Creative, our website. And so it goes to all of those places at once. It's kind of a pretty incredible place to do it. Let me just and you should be able to share from there. You're on my main profile rather than just seeing what I'm doing in that Facebook group. Again, complicated technology to get things started here, but we are excited. If anyone wants to join us live, you can drop in. I believe that if you look in the description at the top, you will see the Zoom link to join us. We're happy to help you out with a social media audit, which is one of the things that we did when we first started doing these live hot seats. We weren't here last week. We had an incredibly busy week last week. We have a ballet studio. I'm not sure if it's something we've ever discussed, but we literally had a huge stage, a 600 square foot stage installed in a parking lot. We had lights, cameras, all the fun things, and it was a big show that went on there. Hey, what is it? You just glow on this camera, and I feel like I am dull. You need to do my makeup. Like, I don't look dull compared to you. You're glowing.
You have fabulous makeup on.
You really do.
I
need a makeup artist. If you want to be a makeup artist, put your applications in.
I was thinking about this earlier. Like, I know how to give myself a facelift with my makeup. Legit.
Can you help me lose 100 pounds with makeup?
I can help. That's absolutely for sure. I can help.
So we hope you guys are doing well. We have a long weekend coming up pretty much everywhere, from what I understand. One of our project managers is in Germany and they have Monday off, and the UK has Monday off, and America has Memorial Day. Maybe our Canadian friends don't have Monday off. You had this last Monday off, I think, for Victoria Day, just back there. Everyone's looking forward to a long weekend here. We can wear white from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Is that the deal?
Yeah. White
barbecue.
I think it's white shoes that they speak of specifically, okay. And then like it went into white pants, white shoes and white pants, if I'm not mistaken.
Awesome.
But I've also read that you can wear white whenever you want. So, that's kind of been debunked, bashed, whatever you want to call it. Like, wear white, wear what you like, because it's your life.
It's my life.
Unless you're in fashion, wear what you want. Like, I think my outfit today, I feel like one of the Ghostbusters. I think it's from the Gap, and it's like it's one of those jumpsuits that you see Chelsea Handler wearing a lot. And I think it's more of a fall thing, but I don't care. I put it on today because I felt like it. I wanted
rocking that jumpsuit.
To look spiffy. I did say to Steve, though, that I don't think this is going to last all day because I have to climb out of the entire thing to go to the bathroom. And the amount that I'm going to the bathroom right now, that's just not going to work for me.
You need like a Velcro patch.
Yeah.
You can just open up and
I need like a baby clothes situation to go to the bathroom, that's for sure. Because yeah,
An exit hole.
an exit hole. But it does not have an exit hole. I literally have to like take the whole thing off to go to the bathroom.
I
So
can't believe how much brighter you look than I am. Look at that. Did I get too much time in the sun? Is that it? I look dirty after my my tanning over the weekend. I got a terrible sunburn working this
you don't,
event.
you don't look bad. I
Thank
also
you.
just whitened my teeth today. So, I have weird teeth these days. As I'm aging, everything's looking different and weird. It's all weird, but I have to embrace this process. So, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we were going to talk about, let me see what the post said. I know that we had a great post out. Our team put a post out just talking a little bit about what we were going to talk about. And I just want to make sure that we hit base on what they were asking for. So they said, how can mindfulness practices improve decision making and overall business performance? I just want to say they didn't consult with us on this topic, so we are literally flying with our eyes closed on this.
I mean, where do I start?
How about telling people what mindfulness is?
Yeah. Mindfulness is beginning to live a more mindful, aware, and conscious life. Now, maybe that means something to you. Maybe it means absolutely nothing to you. But I know before my awareness of how I was walking the earth and how I was living my life came to pass, I was really just riding the waves. I didn't ask the questions like, why do I do the things that I do? Why do I behave in the ways that I behave? Why do I have the bad habits that I have? Why do I didn't analyze anything? And mindfulness is when you begin to analyze yourself as a person, your daily habits, how you're navigating your personal life and your professional life as well. And, mindfulness is a very, very broad term, right? Are you looking it up?
I am, because I that's me. I like to, and I can talk to what I think mindfulness is, but I want to make sure that we're hitting all the bases on this and we're informing people correctly. And the things you're saying are all so true. So, yeah, I just want meditation comes up a lot in mindfulness.
It does. I mean, again, where can I start on this? How does it help with your decision making in business? And I really want to start at a baseline level for you because, I am, and, there may be some people watching this that, are on a spiritual healing journey, and you may be into things that are deeper than baseline and surface level, but just on a baseline and surface level place, coming from that place, beginning to live a more mindful life is going to help you in all areas of life, not just in business, right? And so what does that mean? It means that you are stopping every day to get quiet with yourself. And even if that means that you're taking 5 minutes to breathe, that's considered mindfulness. And what that does is allow you to slow down and start to really assess what you're doing. And I believe that a person who doesn't begin to become aware of how they're living, your body will eventually tell you that it's time, because it's impossible to keep going without taking care of yourself. And mindfulness really has to do with taking care of yourself. And it's miraculous because I know, and you guys have probably heard me talk about this journey several times, but when I got into, and I've kind of been in this world for a while because I've done yoga for years, and I feel like I call it kind of pretend meditating. I would pretend meditate before, but then when I started on my spiritual journey after I got sober, and I was somebody who was in network marketing, and I was kind of like crashing and burning in all areas in that space. I was faking it until I made it, but I was really not fulfilled. I was not happy. I did not feel good. And then also I was failing in all kinds of places. And I know that there really are no failures, that they're all lessons and everything. But I didn't feel like I was functioning at my full capacity. And so I started to read everything. I started to read all the things that told me how do I improve as an entrepreneur? How do I improve as a human? My awareness also, it began to really matter to me. And I think this is another just part of my life journey, but it really mattered to me what kind of parent I was. I know what my childhood experience was like, and I know that I didn't want to pass that down to my kids, some aspects of that. I know that I wanted to break some of those cycles. So the awareness was raised in that area as well. So you just begin to ask yourself, so how do I improve? How do I improve as a human? And the number one thing that it comes up with is meditation. All of the most successful people on the planet meditate every single damn day. It's huge. And you might be religious and think that meditation is following another religion. You might think that it's just weird. You might say to yourself, oh, I can't meditate. It's impossible for me to meditate. Somebody was telling me this the other day. Like, I just can't meditate. I sit down and everything, I can't relax. And I would highly encourage you to, if you are religious, understand that meditation is just like prayer. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's getting quiet and talking to God, if that's what resonates with you the most. If you're not religious and you're the type of person that says to yourself, I can't meditate, I will be the first person to tell you that that's not true, because your idea of meditation is what's telling you that you can't meditate. The idea of meditation is that you have to sit and be quiet, and it's supposed to be this perfect experience that you're sitting there breathing in and out and no thoughts come in your head. On the contrary, it is the exact opposite. It is just like that. Some days you will be able to sit down and it's not going to be like that. And I'm not saying there will be no thoughts, because we have a brain, we have a mind. Of course, there are going to be thoughts that come in. The idea is that you begin to slowly quiet the mind. And the more and more that you do this is why it's called a meditation practice. The more and more you do this, the better and better it gets. And it ebbs and flows. There are peaks and valleys. Some days are amazing, some days are not. The idea is that you become aware of all of that, and then have the ability to have compassion for yourself in those moments. All of those thoughts that come in, you begin to tell yourself, allow them to float by like clouds.
Right.
Or it's like
but they still come into your head.
They do.
You just don't do anything with them.
Right. You surrender and allow. All right. And you ask yourself, well, okay, so if I do decide to do this, if I do decide to commit to meditate every single day, what is this going to do for me? And I will tell you firsthand that meditation and using affirmations saved my life. In the very beginning of my sobriety journey, I was very down. I was very low. And I had points where, like, I was waking up crying every day. I was in very low places, and I didn't feel valid. I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel happy. I'm like, there has to be more to life than this. And then I started meditating every day, and I started using affirmations every day. And they were the simplest things on the planet. I am happy. I am calm. I am peaceful. The cheesiest affirmations you could ever think of. And I felt cheesy. It felt ridiculous when you're not feeling good and when you're mad and you're upset. You don't want to hear that. But I showed up every day, and it is miraculous. I began to be happy. I began to be more peaceful. I started to sleep better. This was meditation and using affirmations. I showed up with a more clear mind, with a more clear heart, and it allowed me to live each moment in the present moment. And we have to do a course on this. Present moment business.
Yep. That's
Sorry, you
that
guys.
was
I'm outside.
that was a drop in from intuition.
I mean, if you have the ability to live your life in each present moment without worrying about what happened yesterday and without tripping on the future right now, you are able to conquer yourself and everything in front of you, because all there is now. And so this is what meditation will do for you. And I could sit here and read you a list of all of the benefits of meditation. They've proven that, you can meditate on health issues and resolve your health issues. It lowers blood pressure. It improves your heart health. It improves your sleep. It improves your calmness. I could just read you all that list, but I'm just going to tell you that from that personal experience of mine, it is miraculous. Like, you just, every single day that goes by, you're like, all I'm doing is sitting down for 10 minutes and getting quiet. And how is this doing how is this benefiting my life so much? And so consequently, because your life in general is improving, you begin to bring those practices into your business if you're an entrepreneur. Because let's say you're a leader in your business, you have more clarity on what your plans are. Raising your awareness kind of allows you to have a more aerial view of your life and or your business. And so you have the ability to then plan properly. You show up as a more peaceful, respectful, calm human being for the people that you're working with. You are a more full human being. And when you're at that capacity, your decision-making is clear. Okay, I have just a couple more things to say and I'll let you talk.
No, this is great. I've got some points I want to jump in on this for to tie it back to the business and also just to think about where we are as well. But carry on.
No, why don't you go ahead? No, I'll get into the second layer of it after that.
So one of the things, we're talking about the calmness of meditation. We're talking about this, and I think one of the things we have to think about is that most of us are running around, many of us with adrenal fatigue, because we're living in fight or flight. The adrenaline is pumping through a lot of us constantly. Maybe you're the sort of person who, likes to stay up late, and then you wake up in the morning and the first thing in the morning, you're agitated. Your kids wake you up, you're agitated. You got them to get them to school. You then got to get to work. You've got to do this. And you are just running constantly, and you are running yourself ragged because of doing that. And when you are in that state, when the adrenaline is pumping, you're not listening to your intuition.
Not listening to anyone.
Well, you're not listening to anyone. This is true. And everyone always used to talk. I always used to say to them, "How do you know?" It's like women's intuition, and I don't feel like people say that anymore. Because I feel like people are getting detached from their intuition. And intuition often comes from being able to vibe at the level of the universe. And I think there's two ways of doing that. I think meditation is one of them, and another one is getting into states, which Tony Robbins will talk to you a lot about. And maybe that's the same vibration as a good meditator, that they both get to that space, that you hear what's going on. in the universe, you understand, the ideas just drop in when you're in that space. And so I think that often we just are running around so much that we think, oh, sitting down for 10 minutes is not what I have time to do. But we don't realize the impact of that. I just had a conversation with someone on our team and I said, you're really great at putting out fires. But how about we learn not to have the fires start in the first place so that we can make this easier? And that's, we find time to fight fires, but we don't think about the things that we need to do to stop the fires from starting. And meditation is one of the things you can do to stop the fires from starting.
Yeah.
And then, linking meditation to business, one thing that I like to do is to set an intention for a meditation. And that's something I've learned to do, where I'll think about a question. I'll ask a question, often out loud, before I go into meditation. How do I handle this situation in my business? And then I'll get quiet and I'll meditate. I'll keep things from my mind. And what you often find is that as you come out of that, the ideas come. You've set it out into the intention. You've matched your vibrations with the universe. You have aligned with that cosmic good, that God, that deity that wants the best for you. And then the ideas come in the right space for you. Nicole's smiling. It took me a little longer to get here than it did for her.
Well, no, this was the next layer I was talking about. This is a little more woo-woo than what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was at baseline, but it's really true. It's really true.
You ever had that feeling in your business where something is wrong, or that you should be doing something that's right? You probably should listen to that. But often we don't, because reality sets in and we start thinking with that.
It's fear.
Yeah.
You're afraid.
I love it. Yep. What's the opposite of fear?
Love. What would love do? This is going to sound like a cheesy statement because it's probably a million memes on the internet, but
just a million.
Yeah, just a million cheesy memes on the internet, but your success is on the other side of that fear. It's when you go anyway, because those things that the fear comes up to protect us. It's something that is built into our system to protect us, and we don't live in a society anymore. Well, kind of. I won't go there. We don't live in a society anymore. We don't have saber-toothed tigers coming after us. We don't have animals threatening our lives, right? So we don't really need that same fear, that same fight or flight to protect us as we did in the past. But it's still there. It's still a huge part of us, and it's there to keep us protected. It's there to keep us comfortable. It's there to keep us safe, right? And it's really just thoughts. Like the stuff that pops into our head about the fears about what's going on, they're just thoughts and they're not real. And how you prove that to yourself and to everyone else is by doing it anyway. And we have the ability to do this. And this is a topic for me that I think it took me a really long time to conquer, because when you're in spaces that it's really hard to shift your mindset and really hard to it's really hard to tell somebody who's really not doing well to just shift their mindset, right? Like you want to punch someone in the face when you're not doing well. Just change your thoughts. Just change your thoughts and everything will get better. Squash those thoughts when they come in. That seems unrealistic, but I will tell you that it's not over time.
Until you try it.
until you try it. I have really began to practice this a lot. When the stinking thinking comes in, you start to think these negative thoughts. You think that people are against you and they're doing things just to piss you off. They're doing things just to piss you off, or you know, you could really just, all of the things that are bothering you, you can allow those thoughts to just creep into your mind, but you have the ability to stop them in their tracks and replace it with something else. Even if that means that you take yourself to Hawaii in your mind, that is a better place to go than to sit there and fixate on all the negative shit that's going on, because there's always going to be negative shit. But when it comes to moving and acting in your business, you don't want to bring that in. And you do have the ability to, anytime, to piggyback on what Steve was talking about, meditation opens you up to the divine connection. Let me get that in here. The divine connection.
So hard.
It's, I know, like it's going the other way. The divine connection. Meditation opens you up to that divine connection, which is a huge part of your intuition. You begin to get ideas. You don't get those ideas for no reason, you know. They're not crazy. They're not outlandish. They are divine, and they drop in for a reason. Okay. And if you don't ever even give them the chance, how do you know? How do you know? And yes, it's scary, but the best thing you could do is to go anyway. Whatever that comes in, you might say to yourself, maybe this is not going to work. What if I fail? What is it going to look like to everybody else if I fail? Okay, so answer those questions for yourself. What is that going to look like? What is that going to feel like? My number one question is always, why do we care so much what other people think? You know, why do we care so much about this? Do they pay your bills? Are they going to, are they in your house going to be ridiculing you on a regular basis? Like, if they laugh at you, whose problem is that?
Right.
Whose problem is that? You are the person who went and tried. But I promise you, those ideas that come in that you don't act on, you're telling the universe you're not ready. So literally, your success is on the other side of those really scary things that you are afraid to act on. Mm-hmm. And the minute the negative thoughts come in, the minute the contradictory, well, what ifs come in, the stinking thinking, you got to squash those right away. Squash those right away and replace it with, but what if it works? What if things go right? It's all part of the process. It's all part of the experience. So.
Yeah. For me, one of the ways that I get my thoughts in the right place is music. And it's funny because I feel like I've always had that as something that's worked for me, but I don't think I ever realized what it was doing. Like, anyone have a hype playlist? And anyone have something like that at some point? I remember when I was in college, I used to listen to the album Origins of Symmetry by Muse. It's a really great hype album. So much guitar in it. I just love that album. And I don't think I necessarily realized that's what it was for me, but it would get me in a great mood. Like, I could have been drinking till 4 a.m. and I had a class at 8 a.m. and I would put that album on at 7 a.m. and dance in the shower and play electric guitar for myself there. What the fuck? Excuse my language.
I had a feeling
that
that was happening.
We had some Zoom crashes here, and I'm just going to remove them from this. Hopefully you guys didn't see what we just saw there. But anyway,
First for us.
yeah.
We can Zoom crash.
Zoom bombed, whatever we call it nowadays. But anyway, so music has always been one of those things. You know, I remember watching watching the internship with our good friend Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn,
Mhm.
and they're in the car and they're about to go into a sales meeting, and it's just like, you know, why is Alanis Morissette on our hype playlist? And he's like, I dare you to crush that chorus and not feel hyped up. It's like rain on your wedding day. It's a free ride. You've already paid. It's a good advice. And the car's still disturbed by our Zoom. But like, music can take you there. For me, like, God, I hate doing the dishwasher. I really do. I hate most housework. And the car's like, yeah, I know. But like, I put on the playlist.
Meditation does for me. I can breathe through that,
Right.
and not punch him in the face.
He just punches me out of sight so no one can see it. But I love there's a Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within playlist, and you can put that out there. You can go find it on Spotify, and it's not necessarily music that I would usually listen to, but God, it has great beats, and it has the beat dropping in it, and then I'm just like, yeah, this is, you know, it raises my vibration, and I will. We have a vision statement, like a manifestation statement, and I will say that while listening to that music, and I am just like vibing up here, and I'm putting my intentions out up here, and I just feel like a badass doing it. Honestly,
I know. Did you say already that you emptied the dishwasher and filled it this morning?
No, I didn't.
I was like, what the fuck is happening here?
I tell you, if I have my power playlist on, I feel better. I vibrate higher, and that just makes me go and do great things. And you know, going into a business meeting up here instead of going in, even here, but down here, you've had a shitty night's sleep and you're going in and you're like, do you think you can get the promotion? Do you think you're going to appear in the right way? You know, you literally are this ball of energy that if you're vibrating high because things have gone good, and you can keep listening to that playlist, you can go take a 5-minute walk and go and listen to another song to pull you back up. You know, having yourself up here, I just don't think people understand quite how much having your energy in the right place affects every freaking single thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the soul of a party is usually the person who's vibing the highest. It doesn't matter what they look like. It really doesn't. They've got over their BS and they're vibing at the right level, and because of that, everybody wants to be around them. And when you show up that way, you know, think about getting onto a consultation or a sales call, the difference between being here and being here. Think about going into a performance review, the difference between being here and being here. Going to speak on stage, between being here and here. You know, I remember, and I feel so stupid sometimes because I feel like I've had these practices all along, not realized that I've done them and just got away from them. You just get, like, music has always been healing to me. Like, I used to listen to Nirvana on the way home from work, which you might not think, oh, that's not a great healing song, it's not high vibrational, but honestly, you sing Smells Like Teen Spirit and your vibration goes up. But I for me anyway, you know, it's a very emotional song, but you're just like, na, 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 you just can't help it, you know that. And Come As You Are, you know, Nevermind is an amazing album for those. And you know, even like if you go into In Utero and you know, Heart Shaped Box, you didn't realize you're going to get a Steve karaoke show today, but like these songs have and what raised my vibration might not raise your vibration. You know, if you go to Tony Robbins stuff, it's all club music. It's Sandstorm by Darude, which I remember when I was a kid I was old enough to go to the club still, but you know, Nicole can't imagine me in a club. Big fish of his couple bucks, big fish of his couple. But like it can push your vibrations up, and it might be something for you, it might be something different for someone else. But if you know that you've got those things that can raise your vibration, you can do amazing things.
Agreed. There was something you said about setting intentions, and it's funny because I was thinking about setting intentions yesterday, and I wanted to get on and do like a reel about it or something. There's so much power in setting an intention, and setting an intention is a part of mindfulness all the way. So it's essentially manifesting, right? If you have a business meeting, or if you know that you're going to have like this crazy day in your business at work, setting an intention for your day, setting an intention for the meeting, setting an intention for your business. And what I mean by this is you take a moment, you take some deep breaths, you get quiet for a second, set an intention for what it is that you desire. What is the desired outcome of whatever it is that you're doing? Maybe it's just for your day in general. Set an intention for your day. Speak the words out loud, write them down. My intention for the day is, my intention for this business meeting today is, my intention for, you know, how many sales I'm going to make today are, you know, there's just so much power in written and spoken words. Even it begins with the thought, right? It begins with the thought and the belief in the thought, and then speaking it and putting it on paper. The universe is listening. The universe says, okay, how can we gather up all this magic? How can we gather up all this goodness? How can we align the stars properly, align the right people, places, and things for this desire that you have to come into fruition? Because that's what it wants for you. The universe is always conspiring for your highest good. Now, that also brings in, you know, maybe what your intention is not for your highest good, and therefore the universe knows that, and it will put everything in place so that it might not work out. That's kind of like another topic. But you have to trust that if it doesn't work, it's for your highest good, because that's what the universe is conspiring for constantly. But mindfulness does this for you too. It brings that awareness into your reality. Rather than being super pissed off and quitting because it didn't work, all you know, because you have been meditating, because you have been showing up for yourself every day, taking time to breathe, taking time to affirm, you know that whatever it is that didn't work is just a stepping stone in the bigger picture. It's a stepping stone in the overall scheme of things. And it is a piece of your puzzle. It's a piece of your story. It's a piece of your journey. And it's there to elevate you to wherever you're going next, you know? Right.
You know, it's easy to get to get beat up by those things, but often they're lessons that you need to learn on the way. You know, if you think about someone like Steve Jobs, right? Everyone thinks about him being successful, but he was fired by Apple in 1984, or around that time. You know, he started Apple, obviously got it to a certain level. The 1984 commercial, which is very well known. And then not long afterwards, he got fired. It might have been in the 90s. I might have the dates wrong, but he got fired by Apple. And that was a lesson he needed to learn. He went on and helped start off Pixar, which then got bought by Disney. And before you know it, the opportunity came back for him to come back in and work with Apple. And then before you know it, he's back there in the role. But he had to go and do a learning journey before he came back to do that. And he's not the only example of someone who's gone through those things. You know, you have to go through those battles to understand what comes out the other side of that.
Yeah. And hindsight is always 2020.
Yes.
And I think it's important. I think it's important to understand that, you know, despite having mindfulness in your life and in your business, just in your life in general, doesn't make those things easier. You're still going to have to process. You still might have to take a break, or, you know, and I'm speaking from, I'm a very sensitive person, and there have been things that have absolutely thrown me off kilter and made me just want to turn my back on everything, never come back. But I wholeheartedly believe that if you are taking care of yourself, and if you are meditating on a regular basis, if you have that connection to the divine that I'm talking about, you know, I know that those words might not resonate with anybody, but it's really a connection to yourself. Or if you want to use God, it's your connection to God. It's like your open line of communication to God, right? Those messages that you get from God. If you have that open line of communication to God, then you will be able to process it and then gather everything back up together and come back and know that you are fully supported in it all, and it's all part of the process, you know.
You know, even if you don't believe in the universe and you don't believe in God, you identify as an atheist, as you start to do these practices, you heighten your own awareness. And so when an opportunity passes you by, you think about it in a different way. You're thinking about it positively. So someone comes to you and says, I've got a deal. And you're like, no, you've given me all these bad deals. This isn't going to work. They've never worked. That's one option. The other option is, what does Ted Lasso say? Be curious. Be curious. Instead of judgmental.
Yeah, I like to call it, well, I guess curious is not really delusional optimism, but delusional optimism. That might sound really, really, really hard to be optimistic all the time. And maybe you won't be optimistic all the time, but delusion, oh, I feel like there's a quote in here. Delusion, you can look at it negatively, but delusion is where great things are manifested, because to the greater masses, somebody might look delusional. Somebody thought that the people who created airplanes were delusional.
Right, the right
somebody
brothers.
Yeah, somebody thought that people who created computers were delusional.
Right.
You know, there are so many people who have created our reality as it is now that we would never, ever, ever, ever believe is possible. So many people were pessimists, but it's those delusional optimists who create the biggest shit and create this amazing reality that we live in today. So are you going to be the pessimist and stay where you are? Or are you going to be the delusional optimist and create some amazing shit for yourself and for the world?
Goes to a Steve Jobs quote, which I love, and I probably said that on one of the lives before, but you know, here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the one thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. Because the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do think different.
And this is what mindfulness and meditation will bring to you and your business. So if it's not a part of, honestly, I feel like it's rare that, and maybe this is just because, social media is like an echo chamber, and it really is like an echo chamber. What you're interested in, that's what you see, right? Because that's what you're interacting with.
Puppy videos.
It is. It's really an echo chamber. I feel like it's rare these days to see a business owner, and I'm connected with many entrepreneurs here on social media. I feel like it's very rare to see someone who's not into mindfulness, meditation, manifestation, that they're not in this world. But there might be some of y'all out there.
Oh, there's plenty. There's
Yeah.
plenty of people who don't think this way, and who are not reaching their capacity because of this.
I'm going to tell the story. I haven't told
The
this
story.
the story. I haven't told this story in a really long time. So what year was it? What year did I write the check?
2019, maybe?
Was it
18?
2018, 2019? We should look that up. We have it somewhere, right?
Right, it was before COVID.
Was before COVID. Definitely before COVID. We probably shouldn't be saying that. COVID.
I almost feel like we need to, restart the year numbering things, as instead of BC before Christ, let's do BC before COVID, and
Oh
so
no.
it's like 3 years AD.
Okay, so back then, I wrote a check to us for $1.5 million. And I believe, I really wish I could remember when I wrote it. I feel like it was a year prior. I wrote it for like June. The date on it was June something of that year. And every single day, I would get quiet. I had a whole meditation and ritual routine, and I had a binder full of things that I wanted to manifest, right? Along with that check, that $1.5 million check. And every single day I would get quiet. I would get into that state that Steve is talking about. I would alter my state in a way that I was vibrating very, very, very high. And I would do this every single day. And she's chewing on the tree. Sorry. But long story short, I believe it was within a year that our company, our business, made $1.5 million. And so, I mean, that kind of wraps up everything we just said here. Setting the intention by writing the check, right? That was my intention. I would meditate every single day. I would get quiet every single day and focus on this and trust in this. I didn't know how exactly it was going to happen. I let go of the how, because it seemed like a tremendous feat to me to make $1.5 million at that time. And I would just trust and know that I'm just going to do this every day. I'm just going to try it. And then we were having a meeting. We were having a training with our entire team. And we had the realization, holy crap, we made that $1.5 million. And by the time that it said on that check. And so if that's not motivation enough for you, to start setting intentions and to start getting quiet and be more mindful every day in your everyday practice and in your business, I don't know what is.
And we're not the only ones to do it, right? It doesn't just work for us. Famously Jim Carrey, right? He was one of the ones that, we know as a story out there, that he was a struggling actor. His career didn't exactly fly from the get-go. And, he said, I'm going to get paid, was it $10 million for a movie?
I think so.
So he wrote a check to himself for $10 million and put in the subject line for acting services rendered, and he put it inside his wallet. Every time he pulled to pay cash out, he would see it. He would see it there. I'm sure there was some meditation around this, but the intention setting was certainly there, and he would keep coming back to it and coming back to it, and it would be there. He would see it and put it front of mind, that he was going to get paid $10 million. This was like in late 80s, early 90s, and not long after that, he got paid $10 million for which movie? Was it Dumb or Dumber? Was it The Mask? I can't remember which one it was. The Mask. Go and read his autobiography. He's a fascinating guy. Definitely had an interesting life story, but absolutely made that work, made that mindfulness, made that intention work.
Yeah. So what do you believe?
You asking me?
No, I'm asking this audience. What do you want? Number one. And then what do you believe? And then I'm going to take that even further. What do you know?
Ooh.
It's the knowing. Like, and maybe this is the difference between stuff that is truly supposed to happen in your life and the stuff that's not. What do you know? What do you know that is meant to be? Because humans, we want a bunch of shit, right? Like we want a bunch of shit, and that's the truth. But what do you know? What do you know? What do you know in your bones is meant to happen? What do you know in your bones is meant to be? And I feel like the answer to that question is it will be the thing that brings you joy every day. It will be what puts you in a place of flow state. You dream about it, you think about it constantly. Maybe you're not there yet because you're not meditating. Maybe you don't know the answer to this question. And if that's you, you are the person that needs to start getting quiet every single day, because you will then know in your bones what it is. And then you can start to get to work even further on that. So
it feels like a great time to wrap this.
Yeah.
Let's see you. If you're watching the replay of this, tell us what you're in. Set some intentions on this post. We're gonna have our team cut some of this out. We'll send an email out and ask you what your intentions are. We'd love to see your checks. Cover up the routing and account number so no one fraudulently does anything here for you. But go and show us what that looks like. Write a check to yourself. Go and get one of those big checks, the Happy Gilmore size checks. We'd love to hear from you.
Hang it on the wall.
Right.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Much love. Take care. Go meditate.